Everybody's sitting around waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for luck, waiting for motivation to show up. But let me tell you something, that moment doesn't exist. The world doesn't owe you time. It doesn't owe you a break. It doesn't owe you a second chance. If you want to dominate 2026, you don't wait. You don't hesitate. You don't hope for the right conditions. You take control. You take responsibility. You push yourself harder than you ever have before. You make every second count because every second wasted opportunity gone forever. You think champions wait. No, winners don't wait. They act. They grind. They suffer. They refuse to sit back and let life happen to them. If you want results, if you want success, if you want power in your life, you stop waiting and you dominate. Waiting kills dreams. Action creates them. Most people walk through life waiting for permission, waiting for motivation, waiting for the right time. They sit on the couch hoping tomorrow will look better than today, hoping the world will hand them success, hoping somebody else will give them the nod to start. But the truth is nobody is going to hand it to you. Nobody owes you a moment of favor. Waiting is the silent killer of potential. Every second you spend hesitating, every minute you spend convincing yourself that conditions have to be perfect, every hour you spend preparing instead of executing, you're burying your own dreams deeper. Waiting is the enemy, and action is the cure. You want results. You want to dominate. You want 2026 to be your year. You don't wait. You don't hesitate. You attack. Think about every person you admire, the ones you look up to, the ones who built empires, changed their lives, conquered the impossible. They didn't wait. They didn't sit around hoping for the stars to align. They moved was hard when it was inconvenient, when the odds were stacked against them. They woke up early. They stayed late. They embraced pain. They leaned into discomfort because they understood one brutal truth. The only way to create your future is to act right now. Waiting only gives your competitors, your doubts, and your fears the upper hand. Every second you wait, somebody else is out. They're grinding, pushing, moving forward. And when you finally decide to start, you're already behind. Action is what separates the mediocre from the extraordinary. You can have dreams, you can have plans, you can have visions, but without action, they mean nothing. A plan in your notebook is useless if you never lift a finger. A goal in your head is meaningless if you never bleed for it. Dreams don't work unless you do. And yet, so many people are addicted to the illusion of waiting. They convince themselves that tomorrow will be easier, that tomorrow will give them clarity, that tomorrow will make them ready. Here's the cold truth: you will never feel ready. You will never feel motivated enough. You will never feel like the timing is perfect. Waiting is a trap, a lie your mind tells you to protect you from suffering, from effort, from accountability. But domination isn't found in comfort, it's found in relentless execution, in doing while others refuse to do, in acting while others hesitate. I've seen it 1,000 times. People with talent, people with ideas, people with potential, but they wait. They wait for approval, for the perfect circumstances, for a sign from the universe, and by the time they finally start, the window has closed. Opportunity doesn't wait. Life doesn't pause. Success doesn't knock twice for those who hesitate. But action creates momentum. Action turns dreams into reality. When you move, when you grind, when you refuse to sit idle, you force the universe to notice you. You make your presence felt. You take what's yours because you refuse to wait, you act. You dominate. Waiting also builds fear. Every day you postpone, every moment you delay, you feed doubt. You convince yourself that you can't handle the pain, that you're not ready, that you don't deserve it. Fear is the soil of hesitation. The longer you wait, the louder it screams. Action, on the other hand, kills fear. Action shrinks it. Action builds confidence. Every time you take that first step, every time you push past hesitation, every time you endure, when your mind is telling you to quit, you're proving something to yourself. You're proving that you're capable, that you're relentless, that you refuse to be a prisoner of delay. That's how dominance is built. One step, one grind, one decision at a time. Look at every champion, every warrior, every person who ever rose above their circumstances. None of them asked permission. None of them hesitated until they were ready. They acted. They attacked. They endured. They took control of what they could control and refused to let waiting dictate their destiny. That's the mindset you need to carry into 2026. Stop hoping. Stop wishing. Stop waiting. Dominate. Every day you postpone is a day you're giving away. Every moment of hesitation is a moment that will never come back. Action is the currency of winners, and waiting is the luxury of those who settle. If you want to win, you stop waiting. You move, you push, you dominate. Every time you wait, excuses creep in. Every time you hesitate, doubt grows. Every time you postpone, comfort whispers in your ear. It's okay, tomorrow. That's the voice that will keep you small, weak, and average. The only way to silence it is to act, to do the work, to step into discomfort, to embrace struggle, to push past pain. Action destroys excuses. Action builds respect. Action separates the weak from the strong. Waiting will kill you, but moving will make you unstoppable. You don't wait for opportunity, you create it. You don't wait for motivation, you generate it. You don't wait for the world to give you permission. You take what's yours, action compounds. One small move today leads to another tomorrow, then another until momentum is unstoppable. Waiting stagnates. Waiting rots potential. Waiting is the silent thief of dreams. But action, consistent, relentless action is the relentless action. It turns ordinary people into legends. It turns plans into empires. It turns hesitation into dominance. The moment you decide to act, the moment you push past every doubt, every excuse, every fear, that's when the chain of waiting is broken. That's when your future stops hiding and starts being built under your hands. That's when you stop being a spectator in your own life and start being the force that moves the world. No more waiting. No more hesitating. No more hoping. You control the only moment that matters right now. The clock doesn't pause, opportunity doesn't linger, and time doesn't slow down. Domination doesn't wait. It's earned by those who refuse to wait. It's earned by those who move when others hesitate, grind when others rest, sacrifice when others indulge. If you want 2026 to be the year you own your life, the year you stop sitting on the sidelines, the year you prove to yourself what you're capable of, you don't wait. You don't wish. You don't hope. You act. You dominate. You don't wait for the right moment. You make it. Most people live their lives hoping for the perfect set of circumstances, believing that if everything aligns just right, they'll finally have the chance to show up, to dominate, to prove themselves. They sit on the sidelines, convincing themselves that tomorrow, next week, or next year will give them what they're waiting for. But that's a lie. The perfect moment doesn't exist. It's a myth created by fear to keep you comfortable, to keep you safe, to keep you small. Every second spent waiting is a second of life you will never get back. You don't wait. You take. You create. You dominate. That's the mindset that separates winners from losers, grinders from spectators, going to make history from those who watch it happen. Think about every person you respect, every person who's crushed limits, broken records, transformed their life. They didn't wait. They didn't wait for approval. They didn't wait for circumstances. They didn't wait for a green light from the universe. They made their moment. They forged it in sweat, in pain, in the lonely hours nobody sees. When hesitating, they acted. When everyone else was distracted, they focused. When everyone else was comfortable, they were uncomfortable on purpose. That's the law of life. Waiting gets you nothing. Acting gets you everything. You want results. You want to dominate 2026. You stop waiting for the universe to hand it to you, and you create it yourself. One decision, one grind, relentless step at a time. Waiting builds weakness. It builds fear. It builds doubt. Every time you say, not yet, later, I'll start tomorrow, you're training your mind to be soft. You're teaching yourself that comfort matters more than progress, that hesitation matters more than effort, that fear matters more than discipline. And over time, all those little moments of waiting pile up into mediocrity. Waiting becomes a habit, and habits define your destiny. Action is the antidote. Action is the fire that melts fear. Action is the muscle that grows resilience. The only way to dominate is to sitting on the sidelines, to stop rehearsing in your head, to stop imagining what could be, and start making it happen now. You create your moment by being uncomfortable, by embracing pain, by doing what others refuse to do. Most people look at obstacles as reasons to stop, reasons to delay, reasons to wait. But the truth is, obstacles are opportunities. They're the raw material for action. You want to dominate. Then you see every obstacle as a chance to build yourself, to sharpen your edge, to prove that you are not a person who waits. You take the challenge, you push through the struggle, you endure the suffering, and you turn it into moment is made. That's how you turn hesitation into dominance. That's how you take control when everyone else is paralyzed by doubt. Every time you wait, somebody else is moving. Every moment of hesitation is someone else's opportunity to get ahead. Life isn't going to stop while you figure it out. Time doesn't pause. Circumstances don't magically improve. You wait for perfect conditions, you'll wait forever. The world rewards action, not hope. The world rewards grit, not excuses. The world rewards those who take what they want, who step up while others step back, who when everyone else hesitates. Waiting is a luxury that winners cannot afford. If you want to dominate 2026, you stop waiting for motivation, for approval, for clarity, for luck, and you move relentlessly, consistent day. Every single day, action creates momentum. Momentum crushes hesitation. Momentum builds results. One small step leads to another. One effort compounds into hundreds. One day of pushing creates a life of discipline. Waiting, on the other hand, creates nothing. It rots potential. It grows fear. It teaches your mind that inaction is safe, but nothing worth having is safe. Nothing worth dominating is easy. If you want to be remembered, if you want to live a life that commands respect, if you want to feel the satisfaction of crushing limits, you have to start where you are. You have to create the moment. You have to create the moment because nobody else is going to do it for you. You don't make excuses. You don't delay. You don't negotiate with comfort. You make it happen. You grind in the dark. You push when it hurts. You keep moving when nobody is watching, when nobody believes, when nobody cares. That's how the moment is made. That's how you dominate. You stop waiting for opportunity to knock. You kick the door down. You stop waiting for clarity. You act with courage. You stop waiting for motivation. You become the source of your own fire. That's the mindset that wins. That's the mindset that dominates. That's the mindset you carry into 20C results. You stop hesitating. You stop thinking you need to feel ready. You stop waiting for the stars to align. You create the alignment yourself through relentless effort. Every step you take, every hour you grind, every decision you make to push past fear, doubt, and comfort is another brick in the foundation of your domination. Waiting builds regret. Action builds weakness. Action builds warriors. Waiting builds excuses. Action builds results. You don't wait. You make the moment, and that's how you become unstoppable. Dominance comes from relentless effort, not hesitation. Most people think success, power, and control come from talent, from luck, from timing, from waiting for the perfect conditions. That's a lie. The truth is, dominance is earned through relentless, consistent, brutal effort. The kind that makes your muscles achy, makes your mind scream, makes your body want to quit, and yet you push forward anyway. The people who dominate aren't the ones who wait, who plan endlessly, who overthink every step. They are the ones who act, who grind, who sacrifice, who refuse to let comfort dictate their choices. Dominance doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't negotiate with hesitation. It doesn't care about excuses. Dominance demands you show up every single day and give more than you think you have. Effort compounds over time. One push today leads to another tomorrow. One small victory stacks on the next. One disciplined decision compounds into results that seem impossible to the untrained eye. But relentless effort isn't glamorous. It's not pretty. It's sweat, blood, pain, and loneliness. It's waking up when the body screams, stay in bed. It's running when your lungs burn and your legs are on fire. It's studying, learning, practicing when nobody is watching, when nobody is applauding, when it would be easier to quit. That's what separates people who dominate from people who watch from the sidelines. Effort is the bridge between dreams and reality. Hesitation is the wall that keeps you trapped in mediocrity. The choice is yours. Do you want to dominate or to want to wait? Relentless effort is also about embracing the discomfort that most people run from. Life doesn't get easier because you wait. Life doesn't pause because you feel unprepared. Life doesn't reward hesitation. The people who dominate seek discomfort. They chase it. They put themselves in positions where failure is possible, where pain is guaranteed, where they're forced to grow. That's how strength is built. That's how endurance is forged. That's how mental toughness develops. You cannot dominate by staying comfortable, by taking it easy, by avoiding pain. You dominate by leaning into the struggle, by pushing when it hurts, by doing the things others refuse to do because they're scared, lazy, or weak. Consistency is the hidden power of dominance. Anyone can put in a burst of effort. Anyone can push hard for a week or a month. Anyone can hype themselves up and perform for a moment. But dominance isn't created in moments. It's built over years of consistent, unrelenting work. It's the person who shows up day after day, week after month, decade after decade. It's the person who doesn't quit when motivation fades, who doesn't give in when obstacles appear, who doesn't stop when life gets uncomfortable. That's how dominance becomes inevitable. Relentless effort, compounded over time, breaks the resistance of the world and carves out space for you to own what others only dream about. Others also requires accountability. You must be honest with yourself about where you're slacking, where you're weak, where you're hiding from the work that matters. You cannot dominate if you're lying to yourself, if you're blaming others, if you're hiding behind excuses. Relentless effort demands brutal self-honesty. It demands that you look in the mirror every day and face the truth about your life, your choices, your dedication. It demands that you own your failures as much as you celebrate your wins. It demands that you push beyond the point where your ego or pride would normally stop you. That's the essence of domination. Refusing to settle for anything less than your absolute best. Refusing to give your energy to anything that doesn't demand your maximum. Refusing to allow hesitation or fear to slow you down. Effort isn't always about grand gestures. Often, it's the small, invisible acts that build dominance. Showing up when you don't feel like it. Doing the work nobody sees. Honoring your commitments when it's inconvenient. Choosing discipline over comfort. These small choices stack up over time, and they create an unshakable foundation. They train your body, your mind, and your spirit to endure, to overcome, to refuse to quit. Relentless is a lifestyle, not an event. It's a daily decision to rise above laziness, to push past pain, to dominate your own weaknesses before the world even tests you. Dominance also comes from embracing fair to the process. Most people quit the moment they fail. Most people stop when it gets hard. Most people run when the first sign of resistance shows up. But those who dominate see failure as fuel, see obstacles as opportunities, see struggle as the price for greatness. Relentless effort isn't afraid of failure. It thrives on it. Every mistake, every setback, every painful lesson is another tool in your arsenal, another opportunity to grow stronger, sharper, tougher. You cannot dominate if you fear failure. You cannot dominate if you seek comfort. You cannot dominate if you hesitate. You dominate by attacking, by pushing through, by refusing to let anything stop you. The mind is the battlefield of dominance. The body can be trained, the skills can be developed, but it's the mind that determines whether you push, whether you overcome. Relentless effort builds mental toughness. It trains your mind to endure pain, to embrace struggle, to resist the temptation to quit. Every time you choose action over hesitation, every time you grind when your mind says stop, every time you push beyond comfort, you're strengthening the neural pathways that make dominance possible. You're building a mind that refuses to surrender, that attacks every challenge, that turns obstacles into advantages, that converts struggle into power to dominate. You must eliminate distraction, eliminate excuses, eliminate hesitation. Focus every ounce of energy on the work that matters. Focus on the actions that create results. Focus on the grind when others are playing, when others are resting, when others are hesitating. That's how dominance compounds. That's how effort turns into results. That's how you move from dreaming to doing, from watching to winning. Dominance isn't given, it's taken. It's earned through relentless, brutal, consistent effort that breaks the limits of your body, mind, and soul. Every day you delay, you give someone else the advantage. Every moment you hesitate, someone else is grinding, learning, growing, attacking their goals. Dominance efforts no one. It doesn't care about your comfort, your feelings, your excuses. Dominance is claimed by the relentless, the disciplined, the fearless, the brutal. You want to dominate 2026. You must embody relentless effort. You must refuse hesitation. You must attack your goals with every fiber of your being. You must grind when no one is watching, push when everyone else stops, endure when the weak quit. Relentless effort is the difference between being ordinary and being unstoppable. 2026 won't wait for you. It's yours to take. The calendar doesn't pause, the clock doesn't slow down, and the opportunities won't hold themselves open until you feel ready. Life is happening right now. Every second you hesitate, every moment you postpone, the world keeps moving without you. Waiting is the silent killer of potential. It's the thief that steals your dreams while you convince yourself that preparation, comfort, or perfect timing matters. But the truth is, there is no perfect timing. There is no ideal condition. There is only now. If you want 2026 to be your year, if you want to dominate and then to take control of your life, then you have to stop waiting and start taking. Every day, every hour, every minute. With brutal determination, most people approach life like spectators, like bystanders waiting for someone than permission, waiting for motivation to magically appear, waiting for the stars to align. But winners, champions, the people who leave a mark on the world, they don't wait. They don't hesitate. They don't look for permission. They act. They attack. They push themselves harder than anyone else thinks possible. They understand that domination is not given, it's earned. Every second wasted in hesitation is a second someone else is using to build, to grow, to conquer. Time waits for no one. Opportunity doesn't knock twice. If you want to dominate, if you want results, if you want 2026 to be yours, then you must seize it relentlessly, without apology, without pause, without fear. Taking control means embracing discomfort. It means stepping into the fire when everyone else is running to the shadows. It means grinding when your body screams stop, when your mind begs for rest, when the world seems too heavy. Relentless effort is not convenient. It is not easy, and it is not safe, and that's the point. Safety is for those who settle. Comfort is for those who fail to see the magnitude of what they could become. Dominance is built in pain, forged in struggle, and polished in persistence. If you want to take 2026 by storm, you must make discomfort your ally, your proving ground. You must seek challenges that terrify you and push past them anyway. That is how the strong separate themselves from the weak, how the relentless leave the hesitant behind, and how others claim what others only dream about. Consistency is the weapon of domination. You don't take 2026 in one burst of effort, one motivational moment, one inspired day. You take it by showing up every single day without fail, without excuses, without hesitation. You dominate by stacking small victories over and over until momentum becomes unstoppable. Every choice you make to act when it's easier to quit, to grind when it's easier to rest, to push when it's easier to fold, compounds into results that cannot be denied. Waiting builds doubt, it breeds weakness. Waiting creates regret. Action, relentless action builds momentum. Momentum is unstoppable. That's how you take 2026. That's how you dominate. That's how you create a life that commands respect and proves to yourself that nothing can hold you back. Fear and hesitation are always going to be present. Pain and discomfort will always try to stop you. Life will always throw obstacles in your path. The difference between those who dominate and those who wait is the willingness to face these challenges head on. You must stare fear in the eye and move anyway. You must embrace struggle and push through. You must let discomfort guide you instead of paralyze you. Every time you hesitate, you give fear power. Every time you act despite fear, you take power. Dominance is built not in the absence of fear, but in the ability to push forward in spite of it. That's how empires are built. That's how legends are made. That's how 2026 becomes your proving ground instead of missed opportunity. Excuses have no place in rating as an excuse. I'm not ready yet is an excuse. I'll start tomorrow is an excuse. Excuses are the chains that keep you small, that keep you average, that keep you from achieving what you're capable of. If you want 2026 to be yours, you must break every chain of hesitation, every habit of delay, every justification for inaction. You take control by eliminating excuses and replacing them with action. You replace doubt with discipline. You replace comfort with effort. You replace fear with courage. That is how domination is claimed. Not by wishing, not by hoping, not by waiting, but by acting, by refusing to settle for anything less than your absolute best. The world doesn't slow down. Opportunity doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause. If you sit back and wait for the right moment, the perfect conditions, or the circumstances, you will miss your chance. 2026 is not going to hand itself to you. It is not going to recognize your potential if you hesitate. It is yours to take, but only if you act, only if you dominate. Every hour you waste is another hour that could have been spent building, learning, training, grinding, growing, proving yourself. Every moment of hesitation is a moment someone else is seizing. If you want to own this year, you must take it with brutal, relentless, unshakable action. Dominance is not a gift. It is a lifestyle. It is the daily decision to push past limits, to reject comfort, to crush excuses, to act when others hesitate. It is waking up early, grinding hard, embracing struggle, and never looking for permission. It is refusing to quit, refusing to compromise, refusing to settle for anything less than excellence. That is how you take 26. That is how you dominate. That is how you create a life that commands respect, proves your worth, and leaves no room for regret. Waiting will steal everything. Relentless action will give you everything. The choice is yours